All right, guys. So we can start now. Um, so, how many of you are from any Python background? Have you guys done any sort of Python training previously?
No, I haven't done anything.
No, Sagar.
Okay.
Even I have not done.
Okay. So, no worries. We will start with Python basic first. So, that is usually our, one of our modules from our syllabus. So, it's over here. Okay. So we will finish this, then we will go towards any practical scenario. Okay. And by the way, how many of you guys have received our all welcome kits and all? I believe most of you have received it, right?
Yes,
So
Sagar.
okay. So it has a web portal logins where you guys can watch the videos. That is the recordings. You will join the live class and then you can access the same live class as recording. It's a lifetime accessible to you. And second thing that web portal has is it has a link to Google Drive, which consists of some reading materials, some files which is helpful for your home lab setup. Those who guys have minimum 16 GB can opt for home lab setup. Other guys can opt for our remote server. So we give 3 months of free access to our remote server. And this also has some notes for Python, Devnet reading materials. The second thing, the welcome kit has the remote lab access. So this is valid for 3 months. Free access to our server. Okay. So you can practice all Cisco vendor, Palo, FortiGate, or any Nexus if you need, or you want XE Cisco cat devices. Okay. FILTM. And we also have an option of you guys deciding if you in case you want something that can be fit into the lab server, you can let us know. We will give it on a one-to-one basis. Okay, so let's say someone is working on Arista switches. So Arista we have it, but I'm just giving you an example. If there is a Arista requirement, you need it. So we can we can provision you that on the remote lab server. And if in case you have something other than that, like Juniper, there are multi-vendor these days, right? So if anything you need out of the scenario, we will help you to deploy that. Otherwise, it will have by default Cisco, Palo, Forti, Juniper, Arista, Nexus. These are all some very highly used ones. So we have it already. Apart from that, if you need, you guys can request and we will help you. And since you are already onboarded, you have received the welcome kit. We started with our class. So what we use henceforth is, if you need any technical support or a one-to-one script writing in the initial days, okay?
Sagar, sorry to interrupt. I haven't got this kit.
Okay, so you will get it. You have to fill the Google form. So have you done that?
Yes, I have filled today.
Okay, so you will receive it. Might be I'll remind, so they will do it and send you. Okay.
Sure, thanks.
So if you need support on technical support one-to-one, or if your lab is stuck, you need help, or you are not sure how do you write any script on PyCharm. Though I will show it in the live class, but sometimes what happens when you do it, you might get stuck, right? So any after class support, you don't have to wait for the next live class to get it cleared. You can write your concern on our backend DL. Okay, so this DL is highly monitored, and there are the technical support available. Okay, who is monitoring or who will take you on Zoom over on Webex, and they can guide you. So this is the content of your welcome kit email, which we send to most of you. Some people might have joined recently and not received, so wait for another day, you will receive it. And also, I think we included the Zoom ID inside that, so that is why most of them had the Zoom ID, but few who joined recently may not have the access to the email, so they may not have got the Zoom ID. Zoom ID, we keep it on the email. It's also on your WhatsApp group. We put across it on the last day. Also, if you open up your WhatsApp description, you will find the Zoom meeting. Okay, so the Zoom meeting will remain the same for throughout the batch for next 1.5 to 2 months or 2.5 months. That's the total duration of this batch. Okay, and the class will start exactly 10 p.m. India. But yes, always have a plus or minus, not at least minus. I'll never start anything before 10. So expect at least a 5 minute. We wait for people, participant to join, since people from various different zones are here. But 5 minute is a buffer. So in that 5 minute, I will make sure that I have some question and answer from any previous class, or I try to make a quick recap on what we covered on the previous day, so that 5-10 minutes will be occupied, and meanwhile the people can join. But don't take that as a time where you have to join like after 10 minutes or something. Your time is 10 p.m. Just that I spend 5-10 minutes just on to see if you have any roadblock, etc. And 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. or might be 11:15, I will try best to close your session. Okay, at least I'll try to wind your topic for the day, because for some countries it's a working hour. I don't want to take more than 1 or 1:15. It will be maximum to maximum 1 hour, and the rest of 15 to 20 minutes, it will be reserved for again the Q&A. Okay, so initial time you will have a lot of questions. Might be after a few classes, you questions will gradually decrease once you start writing the scripts your own. Okay, so this is how the pattern is, and the syllabus that we are gonna cover, it's put up on this. So if after the class you wanna go back and see the curriculum, you can find it over here. Okay, so this consists of like uh, 20 modules something. So each module has some content over on this. So let me just describe in a simple word how we proceed. So we will first start with one of our main module, which is Python theory. Okay, so in this Python theory, I'll start with some basic, then some intermediate concept, then might be some advanced thing. So this is how the module, like module 1, 2, 3 is placed. After covering up the Python theory, then we will start up with writing the scripts using Python library. So here we will start writing up the scripts. That would be like after a week or something. So when I start with that, we have a couple of modules. Like we start first with NetMiko, which will take 1 week or 2 weeks or might be 10 days. Then we will go towards the next one, like Paramiko. Okay, so the list continues. So we might have, these are all the libraries which are from the SSH point of view. Doesn't mean that we will not cover up any other module. There are a lot of dependency module, which I don't count it. When we start writing, we have to use them. Okay, so these are the SSH main libraries. Okay, NEPAM, PyNTC. These are some of the required ones. Now there are dependencies. Okay, dependency modules that might include SCP module or regex module. Okay, or let's say time module, daytime module. Let's say the text FXM. So today there was a question, right? Let's say JSON module. So these are dependency modules. These are not a mainframe module. The mainframe module is these ones. And when we are using them, we are supposed to use the dependency module. We might use 𝒵𝒕𝒉𝒐𝒏 with, let's say, one of this module. Let's say I use 𝒵𝒕𝒉𝒐𝒏 with TextFXM. So these are dependency. They're not a mainframe. Mainframes are these ones. So once we deal with Python library, it would take easy 1 month, one or 1+ month, 1 to 1.5 month. Let me keep it this way. Okay, for covering of the first module and second module. And later we will start with next modules. Okay, guys, give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay, so what do we have as the third module? So we will start with Ansible. Again, that will take up to 3 to 6 days. Then we will take up the REST API module, which is going to take another 3 to 6 days. And then finally, we will cover up the Devnet associate. Okay, which takes another, might be, I'll put as a buffer time of 10 days. And this 5 main modules are gonna cover all those 20 modules that is put up on this particular link. Okay, so we divided in such a way that we call it as basic, intermediate, advanced. These are the main modules, 5 main modules, and within those main modules, you will see the division happening. Okay, so that is about the course outline. Since this is your first day, we will start with introduction on Python.
Sagar, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So every class what you are taking, so it will be recorded and it will be available on the portal, right? This learn.networkjourney.com.
Yes, it will be available there.
Okay, so if after finishing this class, if I wanted to repeat this, I will be able to do that, right?
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
So here in this web portal, just let me put it this way. So our web portal is on this. Okay, so all your recording and all those things will be available here, and it's a lifetime accessible. Moreover.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Regarding the lab access and how do you spin up these, I will show you, might be next class or might be end of the day, because since we are not started with any module. Okay, so don't worry about it. How do you spin up? How does the device needs to be configured, etc. Don't worry about it. I'll take it on a next class or might be today. Okay. All right. So let's start with some topic. Let's say Python theory. Okay. The first thing that you need to know here is the print function. Then we will see what do you mean by input function. Okay. Then we will see what do you mean by open function. Then we will see some comments. What do you mean by comments? And then we will see what do you mean by variable. Okay. And then we will see some different data type. So this is like your bread and butter here. Very important topic. Then we will see some looping iteration. So this consists of for loop iteration and while loop iteration. Okay. Then we will move towards the conditional statements. So condition statement in the sense the if statements or if else or if elif else condition. Okay. Then we will see some concept on might be regex and what is a daytime module, or some examples. Some examples I will show you from advanced concept. Okay, so this is how we will proceed. So first, let me start with print. Okay, so do you guys have any idea what this print stands for? What does this do?
It's printing result on the screen.
Yes. Okay, so it's printing the result on the screen. So on which screen? On your computer. So you're making your computer to talk. Okay, so let's say you have written something in this on this computer. Let's say you say print hello world. Okay, and when you execute this script, a small script which is having only one line, your computer will read out as hello world. Okay, now how does that helps us in a real time? Let's say the computer now is talking to one of our Cisco box. Okay, so it is making a connection over on SSH. We asked our script to execute output for show IP int brief. Okay, so that got executed on the box, but how would I read it on my terminal? That is by taking those data, the data for show IP int, etc. You store it somewhere. Okay, let's say you store it in this box called XYZ. You transmit that back to your computer, and the computer will read using the print function. Okay, you say that print XYZ, which is nothing but which is a box which is containing the data here. Okay, so if you want to read something by just entering on your screen and asking the computer, that's like let's say that's local to your script itself or your device itself. Here you're not talking to any Cisco box, you're just putting down some message and the computer is reading it for you. If you wanted to read something coming from a remote server, okay, now this act as my client and this act as my server, client server model. If I want to read something from server, so print is again that function which will help us to read the content. Otherwise that might would have executed on the server side, but how would I know that it got executed? Right, I may not have access to that Cisco box using console. Only on the Python script I can run it. It will talk to that Cisco and it will fetch me whether it's a interface brief or show routing table or whatever it is. To read that, we need to have the script reveal the output to us. Okay, so that for that we make use of print statement. Say for example, let's say there is a tool here. I'll talk about this tool, what this tool is. Let me create a new file. So I say that print hello world. Now, where is this hello world located? This is located locally to you. It is not talking to any device or something. Just that it's put up on a script. It is gonna give you the output. So let's see how the output comes. You will run the script and it's gonna read it for you. See here. Okay, this is your output terminal. Here is where you will read what's coming to you. Okay, let's say if it was talking to some device, you said you are taking some SSH connection first to this device. You put all the required credential details. Okay. Now your SSH is successful. You're gonna send some command like show IP int brief. So this will execute on the device, and it might be in the device. You as a remote person, how would you know what is the output for this? So you have to store this in some box. I said XYZ. I'll tell you what is that box. It's called variable. So let's say I store that in this XYZ, and then I take the print of XYZZ, something like this. Okay. So this is the condition. This is the scenario when I'm having a client to server model. Okay. And you might find that significance of print in this scenario. Otherwise, if I show you just the local condition like print, you might think that why someone is fond of printing something on the screen itself. This is just an example. In our networking, we will deal with this model, client server model. So from my computer, I will run any number of commands, show IP interface brief, show route, whatever. That output should come back to me, and my computer should show it to me on the screen. That this is the output for show IP in brief. This is the output for show clock. This is for show routing table, right? If it is only getting executed on this side, how would you know what got executed, right? You don't have the console for that device. It's only this machine which can show you the output. So print is a function which will showcase all the result on your terminal. So terminal here is like your output. Okay, it's like a output of your screen or your computer. You're making your computer to read the content for you. So any doubt here with the print?
So you mentioned sprint bracket in bracket XYZ, right? So
yes.
What I XYZ refer to? It would be the output, or how? What is it?
Yeah, we'll come to that also. Okay, so we'll come to that XYZ. So for now, yes, hi, yes, tell me.
My friend, could you give right, a quick explanation about the PyCharm and how we will use it and how we will connect it between this platform and our network, including all network devices or any boxes?
We'll come to that. Okay, we'll come to all that.
Okay.
Okay, so for now, just take XYZ is variable. It's called as variable. Okay, we'll come to that variable. What is variable? You'll understand what is that. Okay, for now, let's focus on first print. Print is to print your result on the output or the terminal or make the computer talk. Okay. So let me put in this way, print.
And Sagar, what's the Python version you're using? Is it latest?
It's a 3.9. I'll come to all those things. Okay, all the technical concept, I'll come in few minutes.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so after print, we said we will go with the input method. So now this input method is very interesting concept. When I say output is meant for printing the output, input is to collect the input from the user. Okay, so you might have seen the scenario like your script is asking you to enter the username. So you type it as admin. Then your script is asking you to type the password. like Cisco. Might be it is asking you what commands, what CLI commands do you want to trigger? Okay, and you get a prompt where you can say show IP int brief, you want show clock. So all those things, how it appears, it's happening because of the input function. Okay, how do you create on this is you say input and put your label. Okay, label in the sense the placeholder. Enter the username. Okay, now when you run the script, you see this part. It is asking enter the username. So what user will do? User will come over here and he will type whatever the data is for that. Okay. Let's say I wanted to collect password. I say that enter the password. And I'll play this button. So it will ask me for username. Then it will ask me for the password. I press enter. Let's say you want more interaction. Your script has to interact a bit more. Like enter the OSPF process ID. Okay. So you'll just put this. You will say admin, password is Cisco, process ID is 100. Enter. That's all. Okay. So this is for your interaction purpose. If you want to give the input on a real-time basis. But that doesn't mean that you cannot assign this data on a static manner. You can do that as well. Sometimes this approach can lead to manual effort. That means you're executing your script. Might be you had 100 devices and it is asking you 100 times to enter something. So why would you want to do that? Right? You can automate the process. So one way of automating is define the data next to it this way. This way. Okay, you said you are assigning the data admin to username. Let's say password is common for all the 100 devices. So say that you want to put the static value for it. Now what happens is if you run this program, it's not going to ask you for username and password. It's only going to ask you for the process ID. Okay. And let's say that this process ID itself is it's a common process ID. You define it. Okay. Now, when you do that, it's all static in nature. So you will decide when you need your program to be static and on what scenario you want it to be dynamic in scenario. You have both the option. You can assign the data and store it in your script. Or if you go with that input method, you can make it more interactive and you can expect your script asking you for the data, you type it on a real time, but that will create a problem for you. So don't give more than 1 or 2 or 3 variables that you have to type back to back in your script. Try to make it more and more automated. Okay. But there are certain times when you want it to be bit dynamic. Like for example, in this script, admin is fine, user process ID is fine, but I don't want password to be stored, right? Might be there are 10 network engineers in my team, and who knows, by some error, they might trigger this. The config push should have shown that I did that, or might be the device got rebooted. It will show that this person executed. So for best practice, never store the credential. Take it on a real-time basis. You can say that, enter the password, and keep rest of them put up there. So when someone hits the script, it is only asking for password. So if you're the right person, then you will enter the password and the script will run. Okay. So you will decide what to be interactive and what to be static. You have, if you want everything to be interactive, you can do that. This is one method. Again, this is one method of assigning this. Alternatively, I'll tell you what would be the different method. You can store them in a external notepad. correct? You can make use of an external Excel reading. If you have an Excel file or some CSV file, you can do that. Notepad, you can do it. Again, custom path like D drive, C drive, FTP server, SCP server. So wherever you have stored it, you can read it from there. Okay. Only the thing is that this platform must have the access to that C drive and D drive. There should not be any user privilege levels or all those things blocking up. Okay, so we will come one to one. I don't want to show everything and then confuse you. So right now we just store the data on the variables, and we saw the input method, dynamic method, in case if you want it to be interactive. The rest of the thing I'll show you in the next classes. Okay, when we go with the such things, or might be it might be checked in the next example as well. We never know. So let's see what do we have next. But any doubt with the input function? You got why do we use input? What is the purpose of input? So someone can tell me what is the purpose of input? Why do we use input in the script?
So to give the in the client server mode, like from the client, you provide some inputs to the server, like what to execute or any username, password, or command.
Yes. Okay. So it will ask for the input from the user. And in the client side, then you can push it to the server side with all the data that you have it.
Sagar, when you enter the password, it's showing clear text. It will be like that only?
No, we can hide it. We can hide it. Okay. So when I told you that under the Python, we will be going with the mainframe modules, and then we will be also going with some dependency, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So in that dependency, there is one more module. I may not have added that time, but now I'm adding it. It's called getPass module. So when we add that getPass module, you can actually encrypt your credentials or whatever. It will not be visible then. Okay. So we'll see this in the script writing and all. Okay. After input method, then the next important thing here is the open function. Okay. Now what this open function does, say as I told you, as the name says, you're basically gonna open some text file and read the content. Okay. So I'm gonna write here, you're gonna read from Notepad. What other things that it does? It depends on what operations you are gonna include there. So let's say you wanted to read it. This is only gonna do read only. You wanted to have write capability, because sometimes when I take the backup of a device 1.1.1, it is not a read method, it's a write method, because I'm taking the backup of my server model, and then taking that backup and storing in the client side, right? So I'm copying and writing something on my side. So it's a write method. So in that scenario, I'll go with write method. If I had multiple data to be added up, say for example, for device 1.1.1, you want to take the output for show clock, you want to take for this, you want to take for this. Now, again, it's up to the scenario. You can take it in two ways. You can create 3 different notepad. First notepad for 1.1.1, and it will only keep show clock. Second notepad, it will take 1.1.1 and keep show IP int brief. And the third notepad will take show IP route. Definitely this method is not good, right? Because if you have 100 devices, you can just multiply with this into 3. So total 300 notepads would be created. Correct. So this is definitely not gonna be very feasible option. So what is the feasible option? The feasible option is that you create one file for one device and store all the 3 inside that. So you have one file called as 1.1.text, and within this text itself you store the output of show clock, okay, plus output of show IP int brief plus output of show IP route. Now, how many files would be created if I have 100 devices? Only 100. Because each file will have the output of all the 3. So how do I achieve this? So to achieve this, I go with the appending operation here. A stands for append. Okay, read only, write, and append. Now, write also has some more property. It will definitely write a new, it will definitely put the content to that. Okay. But what if the content is not present, if that file is not present? So it can also create it. Okay. And appending stands for append plus create. It will also create it, but this will never create. So if the file is not found, you will get error. You get an error that file not found. Whereas in this scenario, it will create. So the error like file not found is very, very less. Because it is not found, then it will create. It has that capability. If it is already present, then this will overwrite. Yes, that is a very negative action. That is overwrite. If you had already 1.1.text, you're running another backup on second day, your previous day backup will be taken off because it's going to overwrite the previous day. Whereas in appending, what happens? It keeps adding at the bottom. So you took the backup of so-and-so on day 1. You have some lines. Just at the bottom, the output gets added up. So sometimes this is annoying because you need backup taken on a day-wise concept, not that one file and have all 10 days of backup. That is not going to work, right? So for that case, this is better. The W method is good in that way. Okay. But when, let's say this example, when you have 3 output, you want a single file, then this is better. So this is again as per your requirement. You have the option, you have to know what works good for you, and then you will decide. So I'll show you some example now for each one of them. So how do we write this? Let's say I want to read a file. Okay. So I have some on my left hand side. There are already some files here. Correct. I can just read them. Let's say there is some file called 19 July, etc., etc. So how do I read it? I say that 19 July, so and so. Then I say that, let's say this is x equals to so and so. Then I say that print function, because I have to read that, x dot read. Okay, reading the content of that file. And let's run this. You see what you got. So where did this come from? It came from this file. So if I check that file manually, is that having all the content? Yeah, it is having the content. So this content is what my script read and gave it on the output terminal. Okay. So this script is this file is kept in my local directory. And this is my Python reading out. Okay. So when do we use this? When do I need this thing? Let's say I'll give you one case study. Let's say you have the output of show run stored in the local directory. Okay. So you can write any regex query. Okay. I'll say again, this is an advanced thing. You will write a regex query And the intention is that you just find out like what is the uptime of this device. Okay, so why do you need show run output for that? Show run is consisting of thousands of lines. You just want to know uptime, correct? So you will write a regex, make a query against this 100 or 1000 line, and in the output you will fetch a single line output saying that the output is so and so, so and so. That's all. Okay, so open method is to define the file path, read the content, and then it shows you can apply some more concept and do certain things. Or this reading from file, I'll also give you one more use case studies here. Let's say you're having all the device stored in the local directory. So all your multi-device you have kept in the text file, which consists of 1000 devices. Okay. Your credential also you have stored in a text file. You say that it's admin and Cisco. So in this case also you have to make use of open method. So you will read the list of the devices, you will read the credential from it, and then you will apply the connection. You will take the SSH to that. You will supply username and password. Might be you're storing the CLI commands on a notepad. Okay, for frequently, this is very frequently used scenario, that open method is very frequently that you use it. Okay, so what I did right now, I'm just reading the file. But what if the file which I am reading, let me show you one more scenario. Let's go to Explorer. This is the file that I'm reading. Okay, what if the file was actually somewhere else? Might be on this folder. Now the folder is different. Okay, and if you rerun the same script, okay, I have to delete that. I didn't delete that. Let me delete it. Instead of copy, I could have used cut and paste. Let me delete that file and let me rerun this. Now you see what error you got. Why do you get that error? Because that file is not found. Because this file you just put somewhere else. Now the path has changed. Correct. So on what logic did this figure out that file previously? How did it open know that this file is located so and so? We didn't define any path at that point of time, right? So let me tell you how it works. Where is this script located? The script is located on this path. Okay. And within that path is all my files, which is locally significant. So when they are locally significant, I don't need to define any path. In this case, the script, wherever the script is, the script in the sense, this file, wherever it is located, any corner, and the same corner, you keep all rest of the files and you're reading it. You don't need to define the path because they are on the same folder, correct? But the moment you keep that text file somewhere out, even one step out, you have to define the path and a complete path has to be given. Okay. So let me show you the project file right now. So this project file is somewhere here. Okay. It says so and so, so and so. And within that file path is all your other required things. So if you just expand this, okay, this is a different folder. This is this folder. Okay. So in this folder, you can see that your 19 July was first placed. Now it is kept somewhere else. And where is your script? Your script is something called Python test. This one. So your script is here and your file was here on the same path. So you didn't define, once again, there was not necessity. But if you keep that somewhere out, somewhere in the backup folder, you keep it this way, it's not going to read it. It will not do any auto scan and just pull out this file from some corner. It don't do that. It will only by default check the local path. If the local path is not found, it is giving you an error like this. So how do you fix this? You just have to take the entire path. Okay, to get that entire path, let's say I go to this, and I kept it inside this. Correct. This is the file. Take the entire path which has that this directory here, C drive. Okay, so I take that and I keep it over here, the front of the file name, because this is my file name, right? This is the file name. So I just copy that. If you want, I'll just show it for very once. I'll just take this, keep it this way. This is my complete path to reach to that file. Okay, that is because inside my operating system, my script is somewhere and the file is somewhere. Now, if I try to read, you see, I'm still getting some error. See the error, what it says. It says it's on the line 4. On the line 4, I see some sort of things. If you try to understand, you may not understand because the error looks bit advanced. It says that codec cannot decode. Okay. Now, why this happens is, on your path, there are some overlapping functions that overlap with your Python program. Okay. The /n stands for go to new line in terms of Python. This might resemble some more meaning, or it is BA numbers or something like that. Okay, so it is breaking the flow now. It is not getting considered as a path. Instead, it is getting overlapped with the Python program. How would you stop that? How would your script should treat this as only path? You can do that by adding escape characters like this. This is to say that escape the next illegal character. Okay, just treat it as a path. Now, if you read this, see, you are reading the content. But if you don't want to add number of /, you go with adding up a raw method. How do you add raw is by adding R in front of the path. Okay, you just prefix R. R stands for raw in Python. It will escape all the violation. Okay, all the violations are getting escaped here. So if you trigger now, see, it is still reading it. So 2 ways to handle such scenario when you give a complete long path and it start failing. Either go with R, that is the simplest option, or you have to put / on front of these. Okay, if you don't want to do that, then the best option I can recommend is go with R. They fall or they do not fall, make the best practice. Keep this. If you see open function, don't forget to add R. They might fall or they may not fall. Not all the path will give you an error. I'll tell you one more example. If this file was somewhere else, let's say that this file might be was D drive or somewhere. Okay, let's say D drive. Okay, I take that D drive and keep it here. Take out R. Okay, it is still falling because of that /1. Let me make some tweaking to that file. Let's say it was this one, July backup. See, now it is not overlapping. Okay, it is not overlapping. I have not added R, neither I have added any escape character. I run this. File not found. Okay, so file is not found. Let's find out the right path for it.
His name is incorrect.
Yeah, so that is July backup. Okay, let's keep July backup. Enter this. See, now it is running. Okay, this is why I particularly gave you the C drive example. Some path might overlap, not require that all path overlap. You might think that why R is required. Put R as a best practice. It will not corrupt your script. But not keeping R can lead to an error if you would have gone that C drive scenario. Okay. So when you know what is to be done, just do it. Don't think that should I do or should I not do it. Just add R. It will take care of it. If the file was in the C drive, then also it will take care of it. Okay. So what is happening here? Here, the file is getting opened. The path is verified. Definitely path should be reachable. File is open, and then you're reading the content of it. Okay. I have not put the open operation. I have not used any open operation because by default, R is preferred. Okay. If you want to write the operation, then you can put a comma and put it over here this way. And if you rerun this, it will still do the same job. Okay. This is by default nature. So now let me tell what is happening here. It is opening the file, text file. It is a read-only method. That means file cannot be created. File has to be present. And in this line, the reading of the content happens. Okay. We are forgetting one line, very important line. This is an open method. So you have to close it. How do you close it? You just can close it this way. X.close. Run this. Again, no significance difference right now, but this is a best practice. You will face issues when you do some advanced scripting. It will say that the file that you opened on line number 4 is not being closed. Okay. So sometimes some best practice, you have to use it. If you're using open method, close it. There is one more way to read the content. You can go with open method as well. You can define your path. Okay, something like this. You can print something. For this, there is no necessity of closure. So there are two ways we can open the file. I'll take this separately next time, just giving you the difference. So here you need 3 lines. Here you need only 2 lines. Both are going to do the same job. This is to read the content, read or write the content, and then you have to close it. Whereas here you don't need to close it. It will do it automatically. Okay, so this is 3 line. This is 2 line. So I'll take this example separately. Okay. Okay, and regarding the operation, this is R, which stands for read only. In case I wanted to create a file, let me delete this. Let me delete this. So when I delete that, what is going to happen? It's going to give me error. No file found. Correct? Because we know that this has no capability of creating it. So to create it, I'll go with W as an option. Okay, I'll go with W as an option. Let's say what it will do right now. So let's say play this button. Okay, let me close this and run this. Okay, so you see that no error. Let's see in the backend, you have a file with 0 kilobytes. Open it, blank content. If you want to create some more file, let's say, and run this, no error. Exit code 0 is a good successful output. Remember that in a Python automation, if you see code 0, it's a good thing. If you see -1, something other than 0 is not good. Okay. Go back. You have the other file created. Let's say you put some more things here. Run this, open this, file will create. Now you're creating an empty file. You are creating empty file using W as an operation method. Let's say if you would have gone with A as option. So we'll start with some other sequence. Okay, let's say something like this. Play this button. See, you have that file. So A is also creating. So that proves that A and W has the capability of creating the file. Okay. Let's say YZ, play this button. See, you have one more file. So these are all files that you're creating. Now, how would you put the content into that? Because when you're creating the file, that file might present or may not be present. If it is a blank, if it is running for first time, the content is always gonna be 0. How would you put some content? So for that, you have to make use of write method. And then you can copy some content. Let's say this is to be copied. Play the button. Open up this. You see the content. Okay, so the content is copied only on the one file because that is the file that I'm using right now. The name of that is xyz.txt, which has 1 KB, and this is copied to it. Okay, let's say I make empty file and put the content to that. I call it as abc.txt A, and I want to copy the content to that. See. Now that file will come with the content already. Previously, I was showing you the creation. Now I'm showing you creation plus writing the content in a one single script itself. You have the file and you have the content inside that. Okay. Now, let's say there were 2 lines to be copied. Okay. And for this purpose, I'll make use of another file name xyz.txt and run this. So if you run, if you open this file xyz, see, it is giving you 2 lines in a single line, but we have to do some tweaking so that it shows up this way. Okay. What did I do to bring it on the second line? I actually pressed the enter button of my keyboard. Okay. Or also I can say that go to new line, something like that. How would you bring this concept on a Python? Just by adding /n. So when you do that /n, it is to say that the next line to be printed on the second line or the next new line. Okay. So play this button. Go back. Now you see there are 2 lines. Okay. This is happening because you are making use of appending in nature. In appending, what happens? You keep printing next to next. If you rerun this one more time, open up, you will see 4 lines. Okay. Now let me put that over here as well. Okay. Let me rerun one more time. So you see this. Now you open. See. You rerun one more time. You see. The contents get copied. So think from practical point of view, you have the output of show IP route, show clock, show run, whatever, for device 1.1.1. That is good for day 1. But on the second day, if the backup is happening on the same file, that will be leading to a lot of confusion now. Correct? You may not like having that concept and all. So for that, we have some methods to change it. So this is the nature of appending. It will create the file and it will start writing on the next to next lines at the bottom of it. Let me show it by replacing with W. W stands for write method. Okay, create method. And what it does, it will overwrite the content. That means, let me put one more file name. This is the file. Okay. So what do we have? We have this, correct? We have 2 lines now. If I rerun one more time, you might be expecting those 2 lines might get re-added. It won't re-add. It will actually overwrite your previous data. I'll show you that. Let's say this file already had some content. Okay. And on the next trigger, we will change it. We'll change it with something. So what will happen is the previous data will get erased up and the new data will come and fall on that. See. So this can be sometimes dangerous, but sometimes it's a good thing. Appending is also having some plus and minus points. That it depends on all your scenario. We use both W and A. A lot of time we will use W and A as per the scenario. But you must know what is the difference between W and A. R is totally different. It's only for read purpose. Okay. So we will just close the theory for this topic. We'll continue in the next class. So any doubt you have with the three of this, that is print, input, and open, let me know. And then I'll show you some practical and all the lab and all this platform. What are these platforms?
Do we have list of those characters when you put slash and n or slash and numbers? So do we have a list of those characters which will give an error?
It is actually not called error. So you're talking from that path point of view, right?
Yeah, like earlier you put C and then.
Yeah, it is not error. It is that it is overlapping with Python's function and the path is getting disconnected.
Okay, means you put slash then and it is considered as a new line.
Yes,
but it is not going to new line and then it is going error.
The path is getting broken.
Okay.
So that is why we put this.
Okay.
Sagar, I have a question. Like here we were selecting the file path from the local directory, right? Yes. And the script was already created. So yes. Just to confirm, if the script is already created, so why there is need we are importing that link on this Python and then running the script again?
Which script are you talking? This one?
The side, left-hand side, these files are already created in Notepad, right?
These files were created when the scripts were run in my previous classes.
Okay. So we will create the script over here in Python and then we can save it like you have just shown.
Yeah. So see, first I'll tell you the stepwise. So let's say the first step is that you will write your program. Okay. You will write the necessary things. And when you execute that from one of this button, the run button, then let's say the task was to generate the file, then the files will get generated and they will show up here.
Okay.
So
okay.
1, 2, 3.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay. Sagar, one question.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so the way you showed us, this is just for Notepad. How about if you want to open an Excel file? Will open works or that's a different function?
Open will not work. You have to make use of another library. Okay. Now that library would be the dependency library. So I told you along with SSH framework, we will be using some dependency Python library. So for Excel, we have to use another library. Okay. Open is definitely used to define where your Excel is located, but
okay.
This will not be sufficient. You cannot just read with only or write with this one. You have to have another library.
Okay.
Okay. Thank so this will only applicable for the Notepad.
Copy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So quickly, let me tell you what are the tools we needed. Again, it's all put up on your remote, but for your understanding, we need Python. Now, there was Python 2x some time back, but that's gone. So we will not use Python 2. We will just use Python 3 and use anything about 3.6 or above. Okay, so I was using, I think, 3.9 or something. You can see it over here, 3.9. Okay, and where do you get? You get it official website. official website of python.org. There is a free download. You have to select your operating system, Windows or Linux or Mac or whatever Ubuntu version. You'll download, you will install it. Second tool that we need is one of the IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So where would you write your script? Because this is your program. This program could have been Java, C, C++ or whatever, but we selected Python, right? Now where will I start writing? This already has its backend where I can write it. It's called Python idle. Okay, it has a inbuilt idle where I can write it, but the problem is it do not have auto pop-up feature. It do not have auto correction. It may not have the color cascading feature. Okay, it might be very basic. Someone who is intermediate to advanced, who has done scripting, for him, this is still okay. But for you guys, until you have some pop-up or correction or color cascading, it's difficult for you to write it. Okay, so we will go with one of the professional tools. Now, when you download this professional tool, again, there are options. You can go with PyCharm, you can go with Microsoft Visual Studio or Atom or Eclipse. Okay, there are different ones. So once you download and install it, it will start scan your machine. Okay, because they are only applications. They do not come with the programs. So it will start scanning whether you want to integrate with Java or Python or C, C++, whatever. But again, as I told you, we have Python, correct? From the step 1, we have Python installed. So I have to point it to this. So your IDE has to be pointed with the programming language Python. So this collectively lets you perform your necessary script building, etc. So these two are must. One is that tool, and the tool recognizing your programming language in the backend. See here in this case, this is tool. This application is from the step number 2 called PyCharm. And this PyCharm has been integrated with this programming language, step number 1. I'll show you what would happen if there was no interpreter defined. Let's say I create a new project. I say that trial something, and I'm not going to create some environment. Okay. So let's say no interpreter. See, no Python interpreter was detected. It is going to tell you this error. It's going to say that it's not able to find any underlying programming language. If it is, then tell me where it is. So you have to go, you have to select it. Let's say you installed Python or some program here. So you say that it's over here, and then you will create the project. Okay, so you click on this new window, and this is a brand new project. Then you can create any file. See, now there is no files here. It is a complete empty workspace, no file. Let's say I want to create a file. I go to file, I go to new, I create a Python file. I say that test file py, enter. Okay. So what should I see once I have this setup? I will first see whether my PyCharm can recognize Python or not. In case if it says that unrecognized, not found, then don't waste time writing your script, because this will not be working. Once it finds that you already have Python and you're good, okay, then you can test a simple logic like we did today. We did hello world or something like that, and you just run it. It should work. Okay. So what is this file? This is test.py. You can, okay, it is actually in the indexing step. It takes usually 1 to 2 minutes for the very first time to build this environment. Once it is done, then you should see the run button over here. You can see the run button over here, or you right click on top of this file name. Then also you see the run button, and then you can run. When you run, you will execute on the terminal of this application, PyCharm. So how do you download? So you go to Python official download. Go here. As I told you, there are different platforms. So nowadays 3.10 is the latest one. But if you are using any other platform, then accordingly use it, download it, install it. Then to get the PyCharm, search for PyCharm download. It's gonna give you two options. One is professional, second one is community. Go with the community. It's a free software. Okay, and you can do all the features here. Don't go with professional, because they will give you some 15 days free, and then they'll start annoying you to enter your credit card, etc. So don't say no to this.
So Sagar, which IDE do you prefer? Like, because there are many. So do you prefer PyCharm or VS and Sublime or any other IDE?
Yeah, go with either PyCharm or MS Visual Studio. So most of the enterprise are using this. Okay, and if you are a Mac user, then Atom works better. But again, these are also very compatible with that. Okay, rest it's all kind of overlapping thing. Nothing is like.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
And if you do a quick check on IDE application, let's search as a Python IDE. Okay. So there are a lot of options here. Okay. So you have PyDev, PyCharm, Sublime, Visual Studio, Vim. A lot of options are there. I don't recommend you to try everything and waste your time. Just go with either Microsoft Visual Studio, which is industry practice, or go with PyCharm. Okay, or go with this Atom or Eclipse. If you're Mac user, if you're Windows, then don't try it. I'm not sure how it works on them, but don't go with Sublime or Notepad++. Though you can write it, but don't go with them. Neither the normal Notepad, because these do not have auto pop-up, auto color cascading, auto error detection. Okay, whereas this has it. So go with any of this. I'll tell you what do you mean by auto error detection, etc. Let's say this is a valid line for us. I purposefully put a mistake. See here that it automatically started recognize that there is an issue here. So let me fix it. Then I'll re-show that. So if I fix this, error will disappear. It will be a green tick. If there is a issue here, it will give you as an error. You click on it, it will say that there could be some missing so and so. Okay. If the same thing, if I happen to show you on a notepad also, you can write the script. I can say that this way. Okay. And for execution, I can open up CMD or something. I'll go to that directory. I will say Python 3, whatever the file name is, and I can execute it. But if there was any error that happened here, there is no auto detection happening here. Okay. I'll be wasting my time just to correct this. Same happens with Sublime and Notepad. They also do not have a proper auto detection. There is no auto color also. I mean, again, color is just a cosmetic thing for you, but that also sometimes help you to differentiate when you write 100 lines of code and all. Okay.
Sure. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So that was regards to Python, PyCharm. And what else you need is you need those end devices. Okay. For end device, we say that Cisco or Junos or Palo, could be anything, any vendor. Now, how would we get them? We definitely cannot bring a hardware, correct? I mean, if it's not my employer data center or something, I cannot bring hardware on my home. Or some of you might already have the hardware, but if you have it, you can use it. Most of the people will go with the virtual solution. You can go with the GNS option, GNS or this EVNG. Okay, so you can deploy some hypervisor and build this. Or nowadays you have a cloud solution as well. So whatever GNS EVNG, you can also host on the cloud like AWS or GCP. Okay, so the virtual or the software version is better. Hardware, I don't recommend. If you have it, you use it. If you don't have it, that's fine. You can still use on the software version. So here we give you our remote server, which is valid for 3 months. If you need assistance on home lab, I told you, we'll contact our DL and we will guide you with the home lab setup. But the only condition is that you must have a RAM limit up to 16 GB. Otherwise, these will not work. You will waste again time on trying to practice on your home lab. So I would say that don't waste your time. You instead use our remote lab. If you are having 4 GB or 6 GB or 8 GB, might be first you upgrade the RAM stick. Then you can ask us for the home lab setup and we will help you. Okay. So I hope the things were clear on the day one. Is there anything that you want to clear out?
So are you going to use GNS or EVNG?
See, on our remote lab, I think we have provisioned GNS for you guys. On the remote server, I'm saying. And if someone is opting for home lab, that is on your laptop you're gonna build, I think we have EVNG setup there. Okay, so yeah, both works the same. I'll give you some basic overview on how do you use them, how do you power on, how do you spin up, how do you configure management, etc. on the GNS and EVNG, in case if you have not used it. Okay.
Sure. Thanks.
All right. So guys, what I want you to do now, simple homework. I hope you have the web portal. And if you do not have, don't worry. I'll take that PDF and put on the WhatsApp group as well, where most of us are connected. So the homework is you go to that G Drive link, download that Python PDF. Okay. And just read the content that we discussed today. The open function, the print function, and what was the other? The input function. So tomorrow I'm going to ask some questions. So just have an overview of it. And if you have the access to the remote lab, then do the exercise which is put up on that PDF. So it will help you to understand. Okay, so are we good?
Sure, Sagar.
Okay.
Is good. Also, I would like to ask you: is there any files on G Clouds? Because I have opened the link Google Drive, but I didn't find anything. Just one application. It's called Eve.exe, something like this.
Okay, so regarding the Google Drive, 1 second. Let me see you guys' portal first. So there is a class 0 which says lab file workbook. Oh, okay. I think that has to be updated. Let me see what is present. Okay. So there is a automation home lab setup 4.2.10. Okay. And apart from that, what is that workbook full access? Let me see that. Oh yeah, that has it. I'm not sure whether you saw it today or might be in the last class. But this is the G drive, which is on your weekdays batch, July. So this is definitely for home lab users.
Okay.
Okay, and this is the reading material and all those stuff.
Okay, let me check. Let me check again.
Okay.
Okay.
So this might ask you for a request. You just submit it and I'll approve after the class. So these are the files that is kept in that. Okay, some Postman collection, some EVNG, some Devnet notes. And this is the PDF that I was asking you guys. So if you open that Python theory, go to, see there are comments, some exercise there, print function, then search for input and open method.
So also I have one question. Is this course including to practice the communication between for example, PyCharm and some SDN controller like VManage or DNA centers?
Yeah, those topics will be taken up in the Devnet syllabus.
Okay.
So here is the user input method. And there is one more file here apart from that. Yeah, the management IP file. So this file also has a lot of pages where I've put all this open method and etc. variable. You have open method. So these are the exercises. Okay, these are the exercises which you can create and run on our servers or your home lab setup.
Yes, Sagar, as I told, I haven't got the welcome kit. So if you can remind your team, that will be great so that I can get.
Okay, sure. No issues. I'll also share this file on the group. Okay.
Sure.
So that yeah, because my backend team might work in the Indian hours, so I'll give them.
Okay.
All right, guys. So let's find out. I hope the things were good today. Let's connect in the next class. Tomorrow we'll catch up. Okay.
Sagar, sorry. These recorded sessions, where we can find on the links, which link we can find out?
Here on the learn.networkjourney.com. Have you received the welcome kit?
Yeah, I received it.
Yeah, so on that, the first link was learn.networkjourney.com. So log in with that. Okay, you might first, let me show you. So usually this is how you might be seeing the panel. So once you log in with your own credential, there is an option of dashboard. Go to dashboard, then go to content. And over on the content courses, whatever is assigned to you, you get to see that, and then you can open it. And the videos, your dashboard would be a bit different from mine. Mine is a admin dashboard where I upload it. For you, it would be the participant dashboard. So you can see all the contents over here. So right now there is no content because this is a fresh installation. Okay, so apart from class 0, you will not find anything. And today's recording, I'll post it in another 30 to 35 minutes. So you should see it coming up over here. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right, guys. So thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Take care.
Thank you.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.